In the beginning, sometimes I left messages in the street. Somebody is living in the Louvre, certain of the messages would say, or in the National Gallery. Naturally, they could only say that when I was in Paris or in London. Somebody is living in the Metropolitan Museum, being what they would say when I was still in New York. Nobody came, of course. Eventually, I stopped leaving the messages. To tell the truth, perhaps I left only 3 or 4 messages altogether. I have no idea how long ago it was when I was doing that. If I were forced to guess, I believe I would guess 10 years. Possibly it was several years longer ago than that, however. And, of course, I was quite out of my mind for a certain period, too, back then. I do not know for how long a period, but for a certain period. Time out of mind, which is a phrase I suspect I may have never properly understood, now that I happen to use it. Time out of mind meaning mad, or time out of mind meaning simply forgotten. But in either case, there was little question about that madness. As when I drove that time to that obscure corner of Turkey, for instance, to visit the site of ancient Troy. And for some reason wished especially to look at the river there that I had read about as well, flowing past the citadel to the sea. I've forgotten the name of the river, which was actually a muddy stream. And at any rate, I do not mean to the sea, but to the Dardanelles, which used to be called the Hellespont. The name of Troy had been changed too, naturally, Hisarlik being what it was changed to. In many ways, my visit was a disappointment, the site being astonishingly small, like little more than your ordinary city block, and a few stories in height, practically. Still, from the ruins, one could see Mount Ida, all of that distance away. Even in late spring, there was snow on the mountain. Somebody went there to die, I believe, in one of the old stories. Paris, perhaps. I mean the Paris who had been Helen's lover, naturally, and who was wounded quite near the end of that war. As a matter of fact, it was Helen I mostly thought about when I was at Troy. I was about to add that I even dreamed for a while that the Greek ships were beached there still. Well, it would have been a harmless enough thing to dream. From Hisarlik, the water is perhaps an hour's walk away. What I had planned to do next was to take an ordinary rowboat across and then drive on into Europe through Yugoslavia. Possibly, I mean Yugoslavia. In any case, on that side of the channel, there are monuments to the soldiers who died there in the First World War. On the side where Troy is, one can find a monument where Achilles was buried, so much longer ago. Well, they say it is where Achilles was buried.